Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
It's good to have you here. I'm Whitney Ward. Tonight we are learning new details about a deadly shooting in Medical Lake. Police now say it was a murder and an attempted suicide.
KREM 2 Shannon Mowdy is live in the studio tonight with new information from the Spokane County Sheriff's Office. Shannon?
We now know the victim who died was a young girl. Spokane County investigators believe she was killed by her adult brother in a domestic violence situation. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office says it started outside a home on South Prentice Street just before 5 Sunday night. A caller reported an injured female in the middle of the road. We have now learned the girl died as a result of her injuries. KREM 2 News did speak with that girl's family, who did not want her name released. The Sheriff's Office didn't specify how she was killed, but said witnesses reported hearing a possible gunshot before seeing the suspect's car quickly drive away. That car was found around 20 minutes later on North Graham Road. The man believed to be the suspect was inside with what investigators say looked like a self-inflicted gunshot. KREM 2 News has learned the girl was a 6th grader in the Medical Lake School District per a letter sent to families today. The district says crisis support is available for students and staff at every school. Crisis counseling and resources for families are also available. Now, the district did name the student in that letter, but again, KREM 2 News is not releasing her name per the family's wishes. The suspect has not yet been named. The Sheriff's Office said he is in the hospital in critical condition. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
All right, Shannon, thank you very much. Well, this week, a former Pasco police officer accused of murdering a sex worker back in the 80s returns to court this week.
Last time Richard Aguirre faced a jury, the verdict was a mistrial. However, this time it will be a bench trial, meaning it will not be a jury handing down that ruling. KREM 2's Cody Proctor is joining us now in the newsroom to get us all caught up in this case.
Well, Mark and Whitney, as you mentioned, the last time Aguirre heard a verdict, it ended with a hung jury and declared a mistrial. Now this trial stems back to a crime dating almost 40 years ago. Aguirre is charged with first-degree murder for the death of 27-year-old Ruby Doss. She was found strangled to death in East Spokane near the old Playfair horse track back in 1986. Then in 2015, a forensic scientist said DNA from the murder scene matched Aguirre. Prosecutors initially charged him with murder in 2016, but they later dropped the charges because they didn't have enough evidence to convict. Then years later, in 2021, he stood trial for murder for the first time. But as we know, the trial failed to reach a unanimous verdict, ending in a mistrial. KREM 2 was actually in the courtroom at the time when we heard Aguirre tell his attorney he dropped the ball.
He's disappointed, that he wasn't acquitted, but he was very happy to be driving home. So.
You think he's happy with the job you've done?
He better be.
Now, leading up to this new trial for the same murder, Aguirre waived his right to a jury, meaning a judge will rule in the case instead of a jury. Now, this isn't the first time he's appeared in court. He's also been tried in Franklin County after being accused of rape and sexual assault. That case first ended in a mistrial in 2016 before ending with a not guilty verdict months later. The new murder trial starts Wednesday morning. Aguirre will be represented by a new attorney in this trial. In the newsroom, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
Cody, thank you very much. Deputies are investigating a body found by a group of hunters in North Idaho yesterday.
The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office is reporting the group called it in just after 9:30 yesterday morning in the Twin Lakes area. Deputies say the remains may have been there for several months. Investigators have not, though, released the identity or the cause of death.
All right, taking a break from the headlines to talk weather. The dry and cold weather continues to dominate the forecast with more expected this week.
For the latest here, we want to check in with our chief meteorologist, Jeremy Legoo.
Well, when it comes to our overall weather pattern, don't expect much of a change in the next few days, as they mentioned. And the reason is we have an air stagnation in place, a ridge of high pressure overhead that just kind of keeps everything as still as possible. In the summer, this would be one of those really hot, dry stretches. In the winter, with our low sun angle, we don't have anything to really mix up the atmosphere. So all the pollutants just kind of settle down to the ground and stay there. That means any fireplace smoke or even the stuff coming out of our tailpipes or debris pile burns. All of that smoke stays in the low levels of the atmosphere. We could even see it by the time the sun went down today. Air quality sits at good, but it likely gets worse overnight as all that pollutant settles to the ground. Tomorrow we wake up to moderate or unhealthy for sensitive groups depending on where you are, but eventually that does work its way out. There's our ridge. This pattern just kind of remains in place over the next few days, so don't expect any change. Each afternoon we top out in the mid-30s. Each night we fall back down to near 20 degrees. Friday though, things change and in a big way.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. Thank you very much. Looking ahead, Friday is a deadline for state prosecutors to turn over all investigative genetic genealogy material related to the case against Brian Koberger.
Yeah, he is the man who is accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students 1 year ago. The judge wants to review that material to determine what needs to be turned over to the defense. They are worried about how police built a family tree and linked Koberger to the DNA on the knife sheath that officers say they found at the house.
They say they need more information to get their defense ready for the trial, but the prosecution says they didn't use the genetic family tree to get any warrants, and they won't be using it as evidence at the trial.